Welcome back. This weekend, I am by myself in Paris. So come and join me on my first solo trip in about 15 years as I explore some of the hidden gems in the Louvre, visit a medieval museum with a Roman secret, and visit a few dead people in one of the most famous cemeteries in the world.
Welcome to The Right Life. We're Catherine and Edward, a married couple based in London with a passion for travel and experiencing the world together. On our channel, we share our adventures from uncovering hidden gems to learning about new cultures and discovering amazing historical sites. Join us as we explore the world.
Probably wondering why I've come back to France on my own and why I'm in the Louvre again. We were just here in February. And the thing is, after we spent about 5 or 6 hours in the Louvre, Edward was about done forever, which is fine because he saw the things he wanted to see, but I was overwhelmed. I wanted to come back and see more.
I managed to avoid the lines by entering through the Porte de Lyon entrance and headed to a gallery that had a mixture of Asian, African, and South American art. The Mona Lisa wasn't part of today's plan, but I couldn't help but check out the massive crowd waiting to see her. Plus, I found this Bellini that I didn't notice last time.
As you can see behind me, even on a super busy day in August, you can actually find parts of the Louvre that are just completely empty, which is nice. This is Greek inscription side area. This is the mysterious Monzan lion, which was found in Spain and was originally a fountainhead. I think he's kind of cute. So these two angels caught my eye because being about 1475, they're pretty early and how beautiful they are, but also realistic. And then I saw that this was a Verrocchio, and of course we all know that Verrocchio's most important student was Leonardo da Vinci. It is thought that Da Vinci carved the angel on the right. So, a hidden Da Vinci. This is absolutely bonkers. Everyone's walking right by this. So this Virgin and Child from about 1446 is a Donatello. You can kind of tell that it's one of his just because of the emotion you can see on the face, the care the mother seems to have. The colors are super vibrant and it's really interesting. Too bad about the crack down the middle. The object I'm about to show you is one of the main reasons why I wanted to come back here.
According to legend, Mary Magdalene lived in a cave clothed only in her hair. Here she is shown as both pious and sensual. This was one of 2 items the Nazis stole from the Louvre's collection during World War II. She was found by the monuments men at Neuschwanstein Castle and returned to Paris. After exploring the Near Eastern collection, I headed through the French sculpture court and into the Babylonian section. Here I found Hammurabi's Code. Created around 1792 BC, this code outlined strict punishments for each type of crime. This is also where we get an eye from an eye from.
I'm not gonna lie, get a little tired here.
After lunch and letting my feet rest for a bit, I headed to the Egyptian galleries. The Louvre as we know it today was founded by Napoleon, and he stole, however you'd like to say, items from his various military campaigns to fill its halls. About half of these went back to where they belonged. That is, except for the Egyptian items, including the Rosetta Stone. They went to England for reparations. The current Egyptian collection was formed post-Napoleon, and it is still one of the largest in the world with over 50,000 pieces.
This is the Zodiac of Dendera, and this ceiling, which I think is from a tomb, is actually on Egypt's top 10 list of things they'd like to have back. It's a bit hard to make out. Hope the camera's picking it up. Here we have Hermaphrodite. Seems to have a secret.
By the time I reached Napoleon's apartment, I was footsore and feeling a little overwhelmed, so I knew it was time to leave. That evening, I had a drink at Harry's New York bar. This bar had originally been in Manhattan and had been shipped over to Paris in 1911. This is also where several famous cocktails were invented, such as the Bloody Mary and Sidecar. Even more interesting, Gershwin wrote An American in Paris in the basement. This was also one of Hemingway's haunts, and he liked to tell a story about how he wrestled a tiger out of the bar when its owner wouldn't leave. Let me know if you believe that or not.
I'm starting today at the Cluny Museum, which is Paris's medieval museum. There's a lot to see here, but one of the secrets is that it is built on top of some Roman baths. So this that I'm in now is the Frigidarium, and it's just really super cool. I will say, on the first Sunday of every month, this museum is free, so that's today. And I got here about 15 minutes before it opened and was fourth or fifth in line, but there was quite the queue when they finally did open the doors. Frigidarium is exactly what it sounds like. This is the room where people come to cool off or have cold water, and the vaulted ceilings are something else. This medieval doorway had me going, oh my god. Two carvings next to each other, both bishops, I believe. And their faces and hands are gone.
The famous Notre Dame Cathedral dates from the 12th century. Over the years, things broke, tastes changed, and destructive events like the French Revolution happened, and there were lots of leftover bits and pieces. Things like old statues and stonework were often buried nearby, or even used as internal wall supports. Everything in this room has been found during excavations.
There used to be 28 figures of kings within the portals of Notre Dame. They're not French kings. They represent the kings of Judah, who are considered the ancestors of the Virgin Mary. They were removed in 1793 during the French Revolution. Here we have 12 headless apostles. These capitals would have been quite high up, and they're from Catalonia, and they are all part of the same group. I think they're pretty easy to read. We've got Adam and Eve. We've got good old Noah here. So this is a 12th century seated Virgin and Child, although it actually looks like the child may be missing. This 5-piece panel from altarpiece of the Passion starts with the arrest of Christ, his flagellation, the crucifixion, entombment, and resurrection are particularly interesting because they are probably from York in the second half of the 15th century. There's not a whole lot of stuff because of the dissolution of the monasteries like this left, so it's very interesting to find it here in France. One of the reasons why I find medieval art and architecture and stuff in general so interesting is because you can't just look at it and go, oh, that's pretty, that's technically good. You have to start thinking about how people of their time are interpreting the stories from the Bible, because some things are very different. And who were the important saints then versus who are now, which is why some of it is a bit of a mystery to us still. This tapestry is incredible. And the duck.
You can't come to the Cluny without seeing the 6 tapestries known as the Lady and the Unicorn. This Flemish tapestry set, dating to 1500, is thought to represent the 5 senses, with the 6th tapestry representing love. Whatever their meaning, they are astounding.
Quite like this depiction of the Holy Family. So of course we've got Mary on the left, Joseph on the right, and Jesus is being a bit naughty.
There's this little outdoor area where you can check out some more of the Roman baths. After an expensive but mediocre coffee, I headed to the Père Lachaise cemetery.
My first ever trip to Paris was in the summer of 2001 when I was in university, and I'd gotten an internship in Dresden, Germany. But I started in Paris because at the time my Uncle Stephen lived here. One of the places I wanted to make sure I came to was Père Lachaise. And at the time, my uncle gave me a book that he had about it called Permanent Parisians, and I still have the map that I bought the first time I was ever here. So let's explore a bit, see who we can find. Despite Père Lachaise being planned by Napoleon the same week he became emperor, it is named after the confessor of Louis XIV, who, of course, we all know is the Sun King, and that confessor's name was Père Lachaise. Behind me, this forgotten grave is in fact where Gertrude Stein and Alice Bitocas are buried. Alice is actually listed on the back, not even on the front of the stone.
Isadora Duncan was a pioneering American dancer. Her barefoot performances and emphasis on natural movement challenged traditional ballet conventions. Tragically, in 1927, while in Nice, her scarf entangled in the wheels of a car, strangling her. George Seurat was a mysterious painter who is best known for a Sunday afternoon which inspired the Sondheim musical Sunday in the Park with George, as well as the painting The Bathers. Jim Morrison's grave looked a bit different in 2002 as there was no fence around it.
One of the ways to get people to be okay with being buried in these new cemeteries was to transport older, deader, longer dead people here. And so behind me are France's star-crossed lovers.
During the 12th century, the philosopher and theologian Peter Abelard fell in love with his student Heloise. Their affair was discovered and they were forced to separate, never seeing each other again and only communicating through letters. Here is Theodore Géricault, who painted the raft of Medusa, which is pictured on his tomb.
My top tip for visiting Père Lachaise would be to start from the Gambetta metro stop, not the Père Lachaise stop, because it's on a hill, and if you go to Gambetta, it means you are walking down instead of up. Other things would be, this place is huge. You could come here 1,000 times and see it 1,000 different ways and still not see everything. I would suggest picking a couple people you want to see and just having a bit of a controlled wander between where they are. If you're here to see some really famous people, you can actually find the location online of exactly where they are, which can really help, especially for some of the people who are a bit more buried.
Or let's say, have more complicated grave sites to find. At this point, it was time for me to go to Gare du Nord and back to England. Thank you so much for joining me on my first solo trip in over a decade and a half. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. There are more adventures to come.